Hi everyone. Okay, it should be recording. Hi everyone. My name is Rosie Lane, and my task for this class was to teach you all about the marching cymbals, how to play them, what to buy, um, visuals, techniques, etc. So that's what I'm going to show you today. So first of all is the grip. Um, So in order to play the cymbal, you gotta know how to hold it, right? So basically, how you hold it is you have the strap around your wrist, but you have the crossing of the strap in between your thumb and your index finger. So I have 4 easy steps that I was taught with, and that is put your hand through the strap. I have a fake strap right here made of a hair tie. Don't put hair ties on your cymbals, just saying. But you put your hand through the strap, your thumb down, bring your thumb around the strap, and open your hand. And then you should have something that looks like this. And this is how you hold cymbals. Now, in concert band, you hold them like this, which you don't do that in marching band because you're walking while playing, and technically you could, not catch them on time when you're doing a visual, or they just fall. So just keeping the crossing between your thumb and index finger. So let me demonstrate this again. You have the strap, put your hand through the strap, thumb down, around, and open your hand. So there you go. And I have a video here of just strap video. So I'm not going to play the whole video, obviously. If it will load. If it won't load, we're just going back to the presentation. And this channel. Okay, I'm pausing it here just because. I have to explain. So the Cymbal Technique 101, great channel. If you have beginner students who come in late, directing them to this channel, it's free lessons, basically showing you video demonstrations of what and how to hold a cymbal and everything like that, different techniques as well. The University of YouTube is your friend when it comes to cymbals. So. Yeah, so see, this is basically what I demonstrated earlier with my fake strap. As you can see, if you look here, the hand is basically touching the pad and the cymbal so that he has a good grip on the cymbal. If he has it too loose, then he has to grab the cymbal to play it, and then he could mess up with visuals, he could drop it, he could the strap could just all the way loosen, and it could just, the cymbal part would fall off. It'd also be difficult to do certain techniques. If you have it too tight, then you can't do visuals, you can't flip. So it's good to have this balance where your hand is touching, not squeezed against it, not the cymbal hanging off your hand, just right where it's touching. Let's go back to the presentation. Next. So this is a photo, just in case you guys needed that. So gloves. Gloves are highly recommended. Some people don't use gloves. I've seen people not use gloves and be fine, but I've seen a lot more people who don't use gloves, and then they can't play for periods of time because they will get burned, they'll get strap burned right here, or they will cut this part of their hand, and then they can't play for a really long time. The strap also goes around your wrist, and so when you're doing flips, the strap moves around your wrist, and if it moves too fast, it could cut or burn your wrist, and then you won't be playing for quite a long period of time. So there are actual cymbal gloves, as I get my cymbal glove on for you right now. They look very sleek, very shiny. as you can see here. So there is that support, there is protection between the thumb and index, there's protection around the wrist. These are a little bit pricey. You can get them from 20 to like, hi. All right. That was my friend, sorry. But you can get protection here, you have protection around your wrist. They're a bit pricey. You can get them from 20 to like 50 bucks. They are good quality. They're comfortable to wear when you're playing cymbals, and they're aesthetically pleasing. If you want all your cymbal players in your marching band to match gloves, and this is a great way to do that. They're aesthetically pleasing, and they all come in like the same colors, and they come in various sizes. Now, a great alternative that is way cheaper is the bike gloves. They're a cheaper option, and they're built to last. They have, like, I have bike gloves from freshman year that have lasted me 2.5 years, and they're basically my practice gloves. Let's see if you can see, but like there's a lot of fraying in the fabric on this glove, and I've had it for like only half a year. So they're built to last. Their sizes are a bit limited, especially if you want them to match. Like there could be people, because there's typically the small, medium, large. And if you have someone who has really small hands, they tend to need the children's gloves, which are bright neon and don't match literally anybody's gloves. And then you have those people who have huge hands and they need custom-made gloves, and then it's just more expensive than actually getting the cymbal gloves. So, but if you're on a budget, if your band's on a budget, I totally recommend the bike gloves. Also, fun tip, if it's a cold day or you're having a night game, you're playing in the winter, late fall, and students' hands get cold. I know I'm anemic and my blood doesn't flow quite right, and my blood is thin, so I get really cold really easily. And so wearing a knitted glove underneath your cymbal glove, bike glove, will help keep your hands warm so that you can play your cymbals out in the cold. The cymbal, since it's made of metal, it takes in the outside temperature, and thus, if it's cold out, the cymbal is ice cold to the touch. So doing this will help your students not have their fingers fall off during a night game, and they can play the cymbals for much longer out in the cold. So, just in case you guys didn't know what a knitted glove looks like, here's a knitted glove. They come in all sorts of colors, and you can typically get them in various sizes, and they're usually cheap, so you can get them for literally everybody in your band. Here you have the actual cymbal glove, and here you have biker gloves, just in case you didn't know what they look like. So, there are some techniques here that are the basic techniques for playing the cymbal. So you have the crash, which is basically you take your cymbals, they're almost parallel, and you scoop. You have the edge hitting all the way through and then up. And that's just the crash. And you would basically do it really fast to get that crash sound. Hi-hat, you basically have them parallel, and you just bring in the one down with gravity. Like a drum set hi-hat, we covered drum set earlier. It's basically like a drum set hi-hat, but you're simulating the hi-hat motion with your two hands. The crunch is like the hi-hat. You have a hi-hat position, and you slam the hi-hat, the upper piece, down, and that will give you a crunch noise. A sizuk, hi-hat position, you have the cymbal on the other, kind of a little off-kilter, off-center, and then you slide up, and you bring it back down. On your slide up, be sure that you're not pressing the cymbal into the other one. This causes the cymbal to invert and flip out and break. But you're just lightly bringing it up and then fastly bringing it down, and this goes sizzle, because you're lightly touching it, you sizzle, and then suck because of the suction between the two cymbals. That's why it's called sizzuk. Then you have a port, which is you have the cymbals lined up vertically, parallel to each other. In front of your eyes, typically you want the middle of the cymbal to line up with the level of your eyes, and you just lightly press them together. It's kind of like the monkey cymbals, but you're lightly pressing them together and they're in front of your eyes. Then you have the zing, which is where your cymbals are perpendicular to each other. You have the center of the cymbal and you have the edge of the other, where the edge is just above the center and you just scrape against the radius of the cymbal. And it just makes this shing type sound, like if you were to pull a sword out of the hilt or something like that. So just like that. And this technique, this playing technique is way quieter than the rest of them. It's way quieter, so typically you'd have a lot of students playing the zing. If it's not for just visual effect and you want the sound, you would have your band play quieter, obviously, and then you would have multiple students playing a zing at one time. So there are a couple exercises to build strength, to warm up, to practice playing techniques. So in CMU, we do, hopefully you guys can still hear me, we do this cymbal stretch routine for whenever the other drumline members are playing something particularly fast where we can't play 16th notes at like 120. So we basically do our stretch routine, so it's like fork up, and move in 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4. And we basically do fork up, arms in the air, T-pose, zombie arms, inverted T-pose, vertical port, horizontal port, and then down. And you move for 4, and then hold for 4. There's also a little 4-beat playing technique exercise to practice each of the techniques. So let me go back to my previous slide. So basically you would want to do crash 2, 3, 4, hi-hat 2, 3, 4, and you play each for 4 beats, except for the zing, because the zing uses pretty much your entire range of your arm, while the rest of these only use this part. And the zing, it kind of takes a little bit to get back to where you need to be. The zing would be played for half notes for 1 measure. And then I have other ones to show you that are from other schools that you could incorporate. So let me see if this video will load. Bear with me, please. Once again, the University of YouTube is your friend. So this is a technique here. It's good to practice positions and playing techniques. And here they're doing a whipping crash, which is where they bring the cymbals really fastly together by doing this V motion and then a second, like, mountain peak motion. There's also, so there's this really fun one that I found by Rhythm X, and they basically play certain things to a backing track, and this, you can add music to your cymbal players' warm up so that they have something to look forward to, like it could be their favorite song or a mashup of their favorite songs, and they're just playing certain techniques to that, and they will really enjoy their warm-ups for sure. Here is, I'm only going to play a section of this because it's pretty long. So. Yeah, so there's many different warm-ups to practice visuals, techniques, um, practice just various things you need to do to build strength in your arms, because cymbals take a lot of arm strength to play. So here is the infamous cymbal knot, which is basically a box knot. Most people look at this when they're new to like teaching a marching band. They're just like, "What is this? How do people tie this?" Like things like that. So I have a video here because I do not have an actual cymbal strap to show you how to tie this, but it's relatively simple. Don't freak out if your cymbal unties. It's really easy to just tie it back up. YouTube is your friend again, so. And again, I do have this link in the handout, if you guys have the handout. Yeah, so basically it's like that, and then you just tighten all four, and it will tighten the knot to the cymbal. Be careful not to do it too tight. As I explained earlier, it could hinder people from doing visuals. It's basically like if you had a box, you got the four flaps, but you don't have tape to close it, so you do this weird thing where you have the flaps overlapping each one of them. Same exact concept when it comes to tying a cymbal knot. Yes. All right, so the moment everyone has been waiting for, the visuals. So, I've heard that cymbal players in the marching band described as a shiny, loud color guard, which we kind of are. We kind of aren't. We do add some musical elements to the band. So one of these things is the look, which I will get to. Before I do though, you do not have to do the flips to do a visual. I have to clarify that right now. You can do so many cool things without actually flipping the cymbal, and it's great for younger kids who are in middle school marching band and they don't quite know how to do that yet, or they can't quite catch the cymbal every single time. There's things you can do the wave, you can do all sorts of things. You can T-pose, you can incorporate your certain warm-up visuals. So there is the look, which is basically when you're marching around and you have young kids who sort of get off on the wrong footing, people are probably going to pay attention to that rather than what's going on. Because the cymbals are so shiny, distracting, and the look looks cool, this is a better way to like help us catch ourselves on our feet once again and have others pay attention. Now it only works if everyone else in the cymbal line is looking the same way. So that's the only way the look will look cool. So I will explain this using the zing ring visual. So we do this a couple times in seen me marching band where you do a zing, but you bring the arm all the way around and then bring it back. The whole arm motion isn't necessary for playing a zing, but it looks cool, and you just have this cymbal, this like gold circle just moving around half your body. So a way to make this look even cooler is you would bring up, you would look at the whole motion, at the whole motion looking at the cymbal. It's better if you like snap your face towards the direction you want to look, just because people are like, oh, that is so cool and so clean and crisp. The next one is the faux flip. So you're basically just moving your hand. The cymbal strap is not moving. It's not moving around the wrist. It's just there, and you're just doing this. And it kind of looks like a flip from a distance. So this is great for younger kids who don't know how to do actual flips yet. The faux flip can be used in the same way as an actual flip. And from a distance, it looks like flip. So I have a video to show you since I don't have an actual cymbal with me. So I have an actual visual to show you so you understand. She is not moving the strap around her hand. It looks like a flip, but it's not. I should have this link in the handout as well. But yeah. But that is basically what a faux flip is. So you have the actual flips, which look cool, and they basically are based around the same exact motion. Each one of the variations are around the same motion and technique for all flips. So you have your strap, and you have your cymbal right here. You would use the momentum of your hand and arm to bring the cymbal and the strap out between these two fingers. It would go around, and then you catch it. And then you should be back in this position. This is great for your high school bands going to competition, or you just want to look cool for your football players, because no one goes to football games for football. They go for the band, obviously. Just kidding. Don't tell the football coach. But basically just bringing it all the way around and catching. So that is where your cymbal goes actually all the way around your wrist, and all cymbal flips have that basis. So you can do it. It just depends on position now. So you can have them up here, you can have them up here, here, you can have them at the same time. And if you can do that, you're pretty talented. So there. I have other examples for visuals. You can dance while playing the cymbals. You can do all sorts of things. And so I have a couple of these. I'm not going to play the video's full length because that would take forever and we'd be here watching a 2-hour movie. So let's just click on this. Of course there's an ad. So they're just bringing the cymbal out as they're doing their hi-hat motion. They do something really cool in a second here. See, they're actually dancing and flipping at the same time, and you can do this. It's harder to do when you're marching and actually walking and moving. They are stationary, so they can do this relatively easily. And you notice they're doing the little head tilt thing. Again, the look, moving your head to appear as a visual effect. You also have a couple cymbal students fooling around. Hold on. Oh God. But like you have, you can have your cymbal players come up with the visuals, and that is a good way to incorporate their ideas into what you're doing, and it would make it funner for them. So you can see this is another one where they're dancing. They're not really flipping. Notice that. They're just moving the cymbals around with their own body motions, and it's creating this visual effect. Now they are actually flipping. But see, your kids could be fooling around and be like, that looks cool, and then incorporate it. Another one. CMU doesn't really incorporate dancing, but I wish they did. There's more dancing, more dance techniques incorporated into the cymbal technique. Let me get to the more technical visuals. So things like that. Get creative, make your own, have the students make their own, and then incorporate them, because otherwise, like most cymbal players, we're resting for a really long period of time, and that's a great place to add visuals versus us just standing there like little tinker toys, unless you want that effect. But add visuals. The students will love it. The audience will love it. It'll be fun. And that's all I have. So if you have questions, you can email me, rmlane at Mavs. So there's also the discussion that I will hopefully get to posting in. But yeah, this has been Marching Cymbals. If you have any more questions, ask me. Go to YouTube. University of YouTube is your friend. So thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully I will see you in the future. Goodbye.